Ilia Topuria is already deep into camp preparing for what might be his most challenging fight yet. This matchup against Justin Gaethje at the White House event has fight fans everywhere talking, because both of these guys bring serious finishing power every time they step in there. What makes this so interesting is the contrast in styles. Gaethje comes forward with that relentless pace and bone-crushing leg kicks that break fighters down, while Topuria has been steamrolling through the division with precision striking that can end fights in an instant. The biggest voices in MMA have been breaking down this fight from every angle, and their takes on how this violence unfolds are worth hearing. Michael Bisping sees this White House showdown between Topuria and Gaethje as exactly the kind of fight that belongs on this stage, and his reasoning cuts through all the outside noise perfectly. While everyone was getting caught up debating other potential matchups, Bisping pointed out that this fight already has everything you could want from a main event without needing to look anywhere else for star power or excitement. Topuria walks in as the interim champion, carrying some of the most vicious knockout power in the entire lightweight division. This is legitimate lights-out power that can change everything in one exchange. Gaethje brings that trademark mayhem that has made him appointment television for years now. Bisping spent considerable time breaking down just how lethal Topuria can be when he finds his range, emphasizing that one clean connection from him can put anyone to sleep regardless of how tough or experienced they are. But he was equally clear that Gaethje never shows up unprepared and will have a smart strategic approach ready for a fight this important to his legacy.
But let's talk about this real quick. Now, first things first, the fight that should happen and is happening, thankfully, is Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje, okay? Never mind Islam Makhachev. I know that would be a tremendous fight, and we'd all love to see that. And I would like to see them finally settle this beef that kind of Topuria started, just going after Islam, and I get it. That's what you got to do. You got to chat shit, you got to talk big, you got to try and generate hype to get the biggest fights, because you want to get in, make some money, and get out as fast as possible. Like Conor McGregor said back in the day, right?
Get in, get rich, get out.
And Topuria is doing just that. I mean, look at the run that he is on. By the way, if he knocks out Justin Gaethje at the White House, that respectfully to Justin Gaethje, there's a good chance that that happens, because the punching power is just different. It really is. And Justin Gaethje got cracked off Paddy Pimblett multiple times. You never know. I'm not counting out Justin. He's going to do a great training camp, and I'm sure he'll come up with a great...
Something else Bisping highlighted was the momentum Topuria has built by finishing elite competition one after another. Each spectacular knockout doesn't just add a win to his record, it completely shifts how the entire division views him as a threat. If he manages to put Gaethje away too, and based on what we've seen, that's definitely within the realm of possibility, it adds another legendary name to his knockout collection and launches him even higher up the pound-for-pound discussions. That potential for Topuria to deliver another jaw-dropping finish is exactly why this White House main event feels so significant, and why fans are already marking their calendars.
Strategy, but one shot from Ilia Topuria can put you to sleep. Just ask the last few people that he knocked out. Who are they? Well, that would be Justin, if it happens. That would be Charles Oliveira. Absolutely flatlined that guy who looked ridiculous against Max Holloway. Before that, it was Max Holloway, right? Stopped him, made it look kind of easy again, and before that, knocked out Volkanovski, right? The man's punching power is on another level. Can you imagine he knocks out Justin Gaethje as well? What a run. Four of the biggest names in mixed martial arts, and he knocks them out one after the other, consecutively even, right?
Charles Oliveira came to the defense of this White House card being legitimate championship-level entertainment, firing back at critics who were questioning the matchup. His argument centered on people forgetting just how accomplished Gaethje has been throughout his career and what he brings to the table. Oliveira made sure to remind everyone that Gaethje has claimed interim gold not once but twice during his run. Plus, he captured that BMF belt that carries serious respect with fight fans worldwide. This isn't some journeyman getting a big opportunity he hasn't earned, according to Oliveira. This is a proven championship caliber warrior with serious hardware in his trophy case and a reputation as one of the most violent and exciting competitors the division has ever seen. That championship pedigree absolutely justifies his spot on this massive stage.
We're told that Ilia Topuria is on the heels of everybody. So now he's going to come in against your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. We're completely dismissing Gaethje, which I feel that you're forgetting is a two-time interim champion of the world. Tell me somebody else that can make that claim. Who's a BMF champion of the world. Justin Gaethje has captured 3 belts and is going for his 4th. They brought you what they had. You then had other guys.
Kamaru Usman viewed this White House main event between Topuria and Gaethje as the perfect fit for what this event is trying to represent, and his logic is rock solid when you break it down. Usman's take was straightforward and made complete sense. If you had to pick one fighter who absolutely belonged on a major American card like this, someone who represents everything American fight fans love about this sport, Gaethje was the obvious choice without any debate. Usman emphasized how Gaethje always comes to scrap and never plays it safe, regardless of who he's facing or how high the stakes are. He's the kind of competitor who will put himself in danger just to create fireworks for everyone watching, which explains why he's built such a dedicated fan base over the years. Because of that well-deserved reputation for delivering excitement every single time out, Usman believed it was a no-brainer to lock Gaethje into this card from the beginning. The only question was finding the right dance partner. Once Topuria's schedule aligned and the timing worked out with the division's title situation, this main event practically booked itself because it made perfect sense from every possible angle.
Well, first of all, let's just talk about that main event. Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. Of course, this is the fight that we all knew, we all kind of wanted. And Henry, we talked about this before. Justin Gaethje was always on this card. If there was one guy that you stamped as the guy that should be on this card, it's Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje is as American as it is. The guy that delivers the whole time, that delivers every time, is willing to really throw his safety out of the window to go out there and entertain. That's the guy that you put on the marquee, of course. And so Justin Gaethje was always on this card. I think the holdup kind of was, well, we want to see what's going on with Ilia Topuria. Is he going to vacate? Is he going up? Would he fight Islam? Or do we see what's going on with Shu? I think this potential showdown this last weekend, Max or Oliveira, do we see how that turns out, how that plays out? Or Armin. So I think there was a lot of things in play here, but you know, Henry, it is what it is. We have our main event, and I think it's a banging main.
Usman also brought up something fascinating about the storyline going into this fight. Gaethje finds himself cast as a significant underdog once again, which is a familiar position he's been in multiple times throughout his career. When a fighter keeps hearing predictions of their defeat and everyone counting them out, it can unlock a different level of mental toughness and physical performance. So while Topuria is getting most of the headlines because of his recent string of devastating knockouts, Usman believes Gaethje actually feeds off these situations where people doubt him and bet against his chances. That's when he becomes most lethal, when his back is pressed against the wall and the world expects him to fall short. This dynamic is part of why Usman views this as an extremely dangerous fight for both men, not just a coronation for the betting favorite.
And not only is it a banging main event, look at there's odds out already. And it's crazy, these odds. They still have Justin at like a what, 4-1 underdog? Which is, what was Justin his last fight? He was what is it, a 3-1 underdog the last fight? Something crazy like that. He was the underdog. Justin Gaethje was the underdog. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, these whoever the odds makers are or whatever, I just feel like, you know, the disrespect is there. I mean, even myself, I was an underdog in my fight. You know, the disrespect is there, but it is what it is. You know, that's what we love to do as professional athletes. We like to go in there and we like to release.
Luke Thomas analyzed this White House main event between Topuria and Gaethje as the most logical booking when you actually examine the division landscape and what makes sense from a pure matchmaking standpoint. Thomas argued that looking at who's available and ready to compete, combined with the title situation that needs resolving, this fight actually organizes itself perfectly. Topuria carries the primary championship while Gaethje walked in holding interim gold from his last performance, so you have two title holders who need to determine the undisputed champion. Putting them together cleanly resolves that situation and unifies the belt, which is exactly what the division and the fans need right now. Thomas also dove into the stylistic elements that should make this incredibly entertaining television, regardless of any political discussions surrounding the event or its location. Both fighters bring non-stop aggression and finishing instincts, so this fight should be explosive and intense for however long it lasts. He noted that Gaethje always possesses the ability to flip a fight completely with one perfectly placed strike, which keeps things dangerous and unpredictable, even if the betting public leans toward Topuria based on current form. Thomas also acknowledged that if Topuria wins on a platform this massive with this level of global attention, it elevates him even further. As one of the cornerstone names, the promotion will feature prominently as they develop their next wave of superstars.
Coming, Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. Of all the available choices that they have, yes, would have been great to have, Ilia versus Arman or Ilia versus Islam, sure. But in a world where Gaethje is already the interim champion based on UFC 324, this is the fight that has to happen to unify those titles, right? Because Ilia has the normal title and Gaethje has the interim one. The fight will be exciting. I know people were talking like, oh, you can't have an American get stretched on the White House lawn. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. There's absolutely no connection historically to mixed martial arts and, the patriotic trimmings generally. More to the point, like, this is an important fight. You've got an American in it. And if Ilia wins, you're now putting over on one of your sort of more significant cards one of the most important guys currently on your roster, and maybe for the future of it.
John Morgan felt this matchup between Topuria and Gaethje actually works perfectly once you understand what this White House event is designed to be and what it's trying to achieve beyond just sport. Morgan's main argument was that this show isn't purely about rankings or textbook matchmaking based on divisional hierarchy. It's much bigger than that. This is about creating a massive spectacle that people will talk about for years, building a moment that reaches beyond just hardcore fight fans. Given that unique context and the special nature of this particular event featuring Gaethje in the headliner works beautifully from both promotional and entertainment perspectives. Morgan talked about how Gaethje always brings complete mayhem to his fights, how you genuinely never know what kind of chaos will unfold when he's involved. Even in his losses, and he has taken some over his career, the fights rarely end quietly or without memorable moments. There's always drama, always intensity, always something worth the price of admission.
I don't want to take away from Islam Makhachev being in this opportunity because he would have deserved it, right? But I do believe that Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria on the White House lawn is not the fight to make sense, there, right? You got to have Justin Gaethje. There's no more red-blooded American wearing the flag going out there than Justin Gaethje, right? Especially knowing that we probably don't have much Justin Gaethje left, right? He's kind of said, I'm kind of nearing the end of it. So to be like, well, we can't do this, but we'll bring him back at Madison Square Garden, or we're some whatever it may be. Like, this is one of a kind. So again, not the Islam from a a meritocratic standpoint wouldn't deserve this. Of course he would, man. What he's doing. But I actually do like this fight. I think it was the right fight to.
Morgan also leaned toward Topuria as the likely winner when breaking down the technical matchup and comparing recent performances. He pointed to the incredible streak Topuria has put together and the elite level of competition he's already conquered during this dominant period. At this stage of his development, Morgan sees Topuria as one of the most complete fighters in the entire sport, someone without glaring holes that opponents can target and exploit. The striking ability is obvious to anyone who watches. Everyone can see how precise and powerful he is in stand-up exchanges. But Morgan also highlighted something that doesn't always get enough attention, which is how solid his grappling foundation is and how truly well-rounded his skill set has become. Because of that complete game, because he's dangerous no matter where the fight takes place, Morgan believes it would be extremely difficult for anyone to outfight Topuria over 25 minutes using traditional technical approaches. You'd need something unexpected, some kind of chaotic moment or flash of brilliance to score the upset.
If we're being honest about it, look, Ilia Topuria is the favorite against anybody other than maybe Islam Makhachev right now, and I think that would be a great fight. But I mean, we've seen the run that he's on, the skills he's capable of. He's the favorite here for a reason. If there is somebody, because I don't think you want to outpoint Ilia Topuria over 5 rounds. No. You know what I mean? I don't know. And I think people forget how good his grappling is, too. So you might be like, we've seen how great his striking is. You may say, oh, well, what if you had a real dominant wrestler? Like, he's pretty good grappler, too.
Well, if last night didn't send you a reminder of that, what he was able to do to Max and what Charles couldn't do to him.
100%,
holy cow.
Right? So I think what you want is somebody that can walk into a battle, take some shots, keep moving forward, and maybe land that big one. That's Justin Gaethje.
Justin Gaethje can do it.
That's Justin Gaethje in a nutshell. Now, I think most people and experts ahead of it will be picking Ilia Topuria, but that's again why I think this was.
Tim Welch looked at the map. This matchup between Topuria and Gaethje is being seen as a really steep climb for Gaethje, primarily because of where both fighters sit in their respective career arcs and what their recent trajectories look like. The general consensus is that Topuria will enter as a substantial betting favorite because he's younger, less worn down, and riding an incredible wave of momentum, while Gaethje is deeper into his career with significant mileage from years of wars and brutal fights. However, and this is crucial to understand, nobody is treating this like a walkover or guaranteed outcome. Gaethje always brings legitimate finishing threat because of how devastating his striking is, how much force he generates, and how aggressively he attacks from the opening bell. That constant forward movement, those savage calf kicks that break fighters down systematically, and his ability to mix in wrestling when the situation calls for it, means he always has multiple paths to victory and can turn fights into the kind of violent brawls where predictions go out the window.
One of the gnarliest boxers in the UFC. He's going to be a huge favorite versus Justin Highlight Gaethje. Justin Highlight Gaethje, 37 years old. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one. 2-fight win streak, but again, you can never count Justin Gaethje out. The dude hits hard. The dude could calf kick you to hell. He can wrestle good. He's well-rounded. Everyone is going to be counting Justin Gaethje out. And if Justin Gaethje can get it done on that night, oh my God, that'll be sweet.
Topuria is already grinding in training camp, getting ready for his collision with Gaethje, and the fact that he's this deep into preparation already shows how much respect he has for what Gaethje brings to the table. Even with the event still weeks away, he's already back to work preparing for the specific type of violence that Gaethje always delivers, that non-stop pressure and chaos that breaks fighters mentally and physically. This also tells you everything about what kind of main event this should become when fight night finally arrives. Topuria enters with incredible confidence and momentum after his recent knockout spree, while Gaethje is the type of competitor who has never been in a boring or tentative fight in his entire career. With both men carrying serious one-shot knockout power and both having reputations for spectacular finishes, this is all the ingredients to become one of those legendary fights that fans reference for decades after the final bell. Drop your prediction in the comments, because once that cage door locks, absolutely anything can happen.